Have you ever met someone and felt it so deeply in your bones that it almost seemed like the universe itself had arranged the meeting? The connection is instant, electric, and yet quietly devastating, because somehow, before the story even begins, you sense that it's already slipping away. You laugh together, dream together, maybe even imagine a future together. And still, some silent force pulls you apart before the story can unfold. It feels cruel. It feels unfair. It feels like a mistake you cannot fix. You wonder, why would life allow you to feel something so rare, only to make it impossible to keep? Why would the universe light such a powerful fire if it had no intention of letting it burn? You're not crazy for asking. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human, and your heart is recognizing something sacred, even if your hands were never meant to hold it. Carl Jung believed that the most profound connections in our lives are never random. They are woven into the deeper fabric of who we are, not to complete us, not to comfort us, but to awaken us. Some people are sent into your life, not to stay, but to set something alive within you. A spark you forgot existed. A piece of yourself that needed to be seen, to be stirred, to be remembered. And sometimes the ones who leave the deepest mark are the ones who were never meant to stay at all. Today, we'll journey into the heart of this mystery. Together, we'll uncover why the universe sends you someone you can't keep, and why, even through the pain, even through the longing, this encounter may have been the most necessary gift your soul could receive. Before we dive deeper, if this opening has already touched a part of you that words cannot easily reach, I invite you to stay until the end, because what you'll find here isn't just an explanation, it's a reflection of your own silent knowing. And if you feel moved along the way, share your story in the comments. Sometimes speaking the unspeakable can begin to heal the unseen. Now, let's begin. When the universe sends you someone you can't be with, it is not being cruel, it is being precise. It is answering a part of you that you may not even have known was crying out to be seen. We like to believe that love should be simple, that if we feel something deep, it should naturally lead to a lifetime together. But the soul knows a different kind of love, one that does not cling, one that does not claim, one that burns through illusions instead of building them. Sometimes a soul connection is not meant to anchor you, it's meant to shake you loose. It awakens parts of you that have been sleeping. It shows you the dreams you abandoned. It stirs the emotions you buried, because it hurt too much to feel them fully. And it does all this not by staying, but by leaving. The person you cannot have, the one your heart aches for, was never sent to complete your life. They were sent to complete an awakening inside of you. Have you ever noticed how, after meeting someone like this, you can never quite go back to who you were before? It's as if they touched a hidden nerve beneath the surface, and suddenly, everything you thought you knew about yourself, about life, about love, starts to tremble, to shift, to expand. You feel alive in a way you didn't even realize you had lost. You feel broken open, but also more real. This is not a mistake. This is soul work. It is sacred, even though it hurts. If any part of this is resonating with you, if a face, a voice, a memory has already come to mind, know that you are not alone. I invite you to pause and share your reflections in the comments below. Sometimes, simply naming what we feel begins the healing. Because right now you're not mourning just a person. You're mourning the version of yourself that was safe, untouched, still asleep. And awakening, as beautiful as it sounds, almost always begins in heartbreak. Carl Jung often spoke of synchronicity, those seemingly random events that are, in truth, deeply meaningful alignments between our inner world and the outer one. When you meet someone and the connection feels impossible to explain, it's not coincidence, it's not random. It's a collision of soul paths, arranged by forces deeper than you can see. You didn't choose them by accident. They didn't stumble into your life by mistake. Their presence, their eyes, their laughter, their absence, was part of a design older than memory. It may feel at times unbearably unfair. You might wonder, if this was meant to change me, why did it have to hurt so much? But real transformation rarely happens inside of comfort. It happens when something touches you so deeply that your old life, your old defenses, can no longer survive it. You are not broken because you loved someone you could not keep. You are not foolish because you still ache for them. You are brave because you allowed yourself to feel something real in a world that so often tells us to stay numb. You said yes, even when the yes meant pain. And there is a quiet, aching kind of courage in that. A courage that deserves to be honored, not hidden. Have you ever found yourself reliving small moments with them? The way they looked at you across a crowded room, the way their voice softened when they spoke your name, the way time seemed to dissolve when you were near them. Those moments mattered, not because they promised forever, but because they awakened you to the parts of yourself you had forgotten. Your capacity for wonder, for hope, for being seen. They did not come to stay, they came to awaken. And awakenings, by their very nature, are not meant to be comfortable, they are meant to be real. There's a quiet tragedy in realizing that not every connection is meant to grow roots. Some are meant to be a wildfire, burning brightly, burning completely, burning away what no longer serves the soul. The love you felt, the dreams you dared to imagine, they were not wasted, even if they ended in silence, even if they ended in distance. Because in loving them, you touched parts of yourself that had been waiting so long to be felt again. Maybe you remembered how deeply you could care. Maybe you saw for the first time the fears you still carry. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of being too much. And maybe, just maybe, their leaving gave you the chance to love yourself the way you once hoped they would. Carl Jung taught that we are often drawn to the people who carry the very pieces of ourselves we have lost, rejected, or forgotten. Their presence stirs the unconscious. Their absence forces us to search within. The person you miss was a mirror. They reflected something back to you, something that still needed to be healed, something that still needed to be claimed, and sometimes the deepest form of love is allowing that mirror to fall away so you can finally see yourself clearly. Have you ever wondered what part of you they awakened? What buried dreams or forgotten truths they pulled into the light? Take a moment now, not to grieve what you lost, but to honor what was stirred awake. If you feel called, share in the comments. What did this soul connection bring alive in you? Your story could be the reflection someone else needs right now, because none of it was accidental. Real transformation rarely announces itself with a grand beginning. It often whispers through endings, through the hollow spaces we don't know how to fill. The person you couldn't keep was never the destination. They were the catalyst, the spark, the sacred interruption your soul was silently asking for. True awakening begins not when life gives you everything you want, but when it strips away what you thought you needed to survive. It is in the emptiness, in the ache, in the silent rooms where their voice once echoed, that your real journey begins. This isn't punishment. This isn't failure. This is the tender beginning of a new self, one that would have remained asleep if not for the sharpness of this loss. Carl Jung believed that individuation, becoming, your truest, deepest self, demands the breaking of old structures, old fantasies, old illusions. And love, when it is real, doesn't just comfort you. It reveals you. It shows you where you were clinging. It shows you where you were hiding. It shows you where you still feared your own fullness. Sometimes we think that if a connection was meaningful, it must have been meant to last. But some truths are too powerful for permanence. Some souls come into our lives not to build with us, but to shake the foundation so we can build ourselves anew. Have you ever noticed how the deepest pain often leaves behind the deepest clarity? How after the storm, the air feels sharper, cleaner, more alive? That's because pain clears the illusions we were too afraid to release on our own. It forces honesty. It demands presence. It births a version of you that can no longer pretend, and that, no matter how it hurts now, is a gift that will carry you further than comfort ever could. There will be days when the memories feel sharper than you expect, when a song, a scent, a glance from a stranger will bring them rushing back. Let it. Do not shame yourself for remembering. Do not silence the ache when it rises, because remembering is not weakness. It is a sign that you loved, fully, bravely, beautifully. The goal was never to erase them. The goal was to integrate what they awakened. You carry their impact not as a burden, but as a quiet thread woven into the fabric of who you are now. Bitterness may try to find a home inside your heart. It will whisper that it wasn't fair, that you were cheated, that the universe played a cruel trick on you. But bitterness is simply unprocessed grief. It is pain that hasn't been given the dignity of being honored. Carl Jung taught that what we resist persists. If you resist the mourning, it will harden into walls inside you. If you resist the tenderness, it will calcify into fear. But if you allow yourself to feel, truly feel, the loss, the longing, the gratitude, then pain becomes the soil from which new life can grow. Have you ever caught yourself wishing you could go back? Back to the moment you first met? Back to the innocence of not knowing how the story would end? It's a beautiful wish, but one that would keep you forever suspended in what was. Your soul does not seek to keep you trapped in longing. It seeks to carry the gift forward, to let the love, the lessons, the ache shape you without imprisoning you. And that is a kind of liberation that no loss can ever steal from you. If these words are touching a part of your heart that needed to hear this, take a moment to breathe it in. And if you feel called, share below. What have you learned about yourself through the pain you once wished you could avoid? Your voice, your reflection, your healing. They matter here. The deepest way you can honor someone you could not keep is not by clinging to the past. It's by letting their impact live on through your becoming. They were not sent to complete your story. They were sent to crack it open, to make space for a truer, deeper story to unfold. You are not here to live half asleep. You are not here to silence the parts of yourself that ache for something real. You are here to awaken, to heal, to build a life rooted in the fullness of who you are, not just in who you used to be with them. Carl Jung often said that we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The connection you lost, the dreams that never materialized, the love that slipped through your fingers. They brought you face to face with the places inside you, still longing for light. And now, it is your turn to take that light into your own hands, to become the source of the love you once believed could only come through another. They were the messenger. You are the journey. Have you thought about what kind of life would honor what you awakened through them? A life where you love yourself with the same tenderness you once gave away so easily. A life where you chase the dreams you buried because you thought no one would understand them. A life where you no longer settle for half-hearted connections just to avoid the ache of loneliness. The loss was real. The pain was real, but so was the gift. And if you let it, the grief can become grace. The goodbye can become a beginning. There will always be a part of you that remembers them, not with bitterness, not with regret, but with a quiet reverence for the role they played in your becoming. They were never a mistake. They were never a waste. They were a sacred intersection, a mirror held up to your soul at exactly the moment you were ready to see yourself more clearly. Some lessons are gentle. Some lessons arrive wrapped in warmth and laughter. But the ones that leave a mark, the ones that carve open new spaces inside you, often come through ache, through absence, through the unspoken goodbye. You didn't lose because they left. You didn't fail because it hurt. You grew. You softened. You awakened. And that, in the language of the soul, is what true success looks like. Carl Jung reminded us that loneliness does not come from being alone, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to us. This is why sharing matters. Why storytelling matters. Why your voice, even trembling, even uncertain, matters. Because when you speak the truth of your own heart, when you dare to put it into words, even messy ones, you begin to bridge the distance between yourself and others who thought they were alone in this feeling. So if this journey has stirred something inside you, if memories or emotions have risen up as we've walked through these reflections together, know that it's okay. It's more than okay. It's human, and you're not walking this road alone. If you feel ready, I invite you again to share your story in the comments below. Not for validation, not for approval, but as a way of planting a seed of healing for yourself and for someone else who might need to see that they are not the only one carrying this silent ache, because even the losses we think will break us can become the bridges that carry us home. Maybe you weren't meant to keep them. Maybe they weren't meant to stay. But the love you felt, the longing they stirred, the pieces of yourself they awakened, those are yours forever. They didn't complete you. They reminded you that you were never incomplete. They didn't save you. They showed you where your own soul was waiting to be rescued. And now, even if the memories still ache sometimes, even if the dreams you once held together feel like distant stars now, you carry something deeper, something more real, something that no goodbye can erase. You carry yourself. You carry the parts of you that were too beautiful, too wild, too true to remain hidden. And that is the real miracle of meeting someone you can't be with. Not the love story that could have been, but the love story that now lives inside you, with yourself, for yourself. If their memory still lingers, if their absence still echoes, it's because they were part of the sacred path that led you back to your own soul. And what greater gift is there than to be awakened to the full, fierce tenderness of your own heart? If this message found you at the right moment, if it touched a part of you that needed to feel seen, please take a moment to honor that. Share your reflections in the comments below, not just for yourself, but for all the quiet hearts who will read your words and feel a little less alone. And if you found even a small piece of healing here today, consider liking this video. It helps these messages reach more souls who are silently searching for understanding. If you would like to continue walking this path of inner growth, awakening, and emotional healing, you are warmly invited to subscribe. There are many more stories to explore, many more truths to remember. The journey doesn't end here. It never really does, because every ending is simply another beginning, waiting to unfold. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing, again and again, to heal instead of harden, to open instead of close. You are seen. You are felt. You are not walking this alone.